All right, and welcome everyone to another episode of the Senpai Kouhai podcast. I am your co-host Trea-kun. I'm joined tonight by my other co-host Stefan, also known
Ah,
as Stefan in France, also known as Stefan in Italy, also known as Senpai in Japan. Steven, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. I was about to have a moment with you butchering my name, because it's a little known fact that I can't stand the ph attached to the Steven
Oh,
name. Like
really?
yeah, my significant other typically laughs her ass off at me because I will actually get comically upset about it in sort of a fun way, but I'm also like, no, it's a ph. That's not the sound for a v. That's the sound for an f. So if someone's got a ph in the name Steven, his name is Stefan.
That makes
Like
sense.
that's just, like if you were talking about a phone, it's a ph. Like I don't know. The naming in English, the English language is just a crapshoot anyway. So whatever. Thank you for having fun with my name.
You know what? We can go ahead and stop here if we need to have an emotional break
No,
before we
no,
get
I've
started.
I've given up all my emotions for this event.
I
Yeah.
I also have issues with my name, but my name is spelled very unorthodox. It's Trea, but everyone always spells it Trae or Trey. And at my new job, I have to wear these coveralls, and the company that normally does our clothes comes in, and they covered my clothes with me, and they're like, "How do you spell your name?" And I was like, Trea. And everyone around me had just gotten used to my name being Trea. Everyone's got it down, and the guy has the gall to come in with my uniform spelled wrong. It's Trae, like Trey the Truth, and he just messed it up for everybody. Now everyone emails me and looks at me wrong, and it's Trae, and even my boss had to come and be like, Trey, how do you spell your name? Because I see your shirt says one thing. I'm pretty sure I email you and it says another. Am I doing this wrong? Am I doing this right? And I was like, no, it's fine. It's just the world around you isn't real. It's just my name is, you can actually call me Timmy, and it's the same thing. It translates to Trey.
That's amazing. And I love your name because it also is a source of a lot of funny moments where you can see people's brain kind of chugging along and going like, what word am I gonna say? How
Yeah,
wrong is it gonna be? Like I think someone called you tree at
it's
one
normally
point.
that's a common one. Tree, Treya, Tria. One thing that really gets me is, so my name Trea. A is normally when it ends. That's a feminine kind
Hmm.
of name. Is normally when it ends. So when I email people that have never met me before, they think I'm a woman. And so I was
What?
at one of my jobs. We were ordering company shirts, and I emailed the lady, and I was like, "Hey, I'll have a large." And she was like, "I am so sorry. Is that a men's large or a woman's large?" And I was like, "Come on, man. Come on."
Wow, that's some next level stuff, man.
Yes, sir.
Uh
It's bad. Names are a gamble whenever you're born, and you just gotta hope you get something like Evan or J- Jimmy. I don't know, something basic. And
don't say that. Like my name is Steven and it's one of the most common names ever. And you never know when someone's gonna yell that name across the store, and all of a sudden you're like, what the heck's going on? It's
yeah,
like,
how many
who's
Stevens
calling
are
me?
gonna pop up? Anyway,
Yeah.
here on the Senpai Kohai podcast, we actually talk about anime, not just vernacular and nomenclatures with names. Contrary to popular belief, Stephen, I don't mean to disappoint you. Stephen with a V, not a PH. I I do not have a game for you.
You don't have a game for me. My
I
heart is broken
don't.
right now.
I
I
know.
like That's it. We're officially over. Podcast's over.
Wow. Okay. This is now the Kohai podcast, but it's called the Co Cry podcast, where I'm just crying.
Oh no. Well, like I'm trying to see if I like can come up with some quizzy questions for you right off the top of my head, but like it
I'll
really
let you. I'll let you
you
stew on it. I'll give you a minute. And
you haven't watched a lot of shows though, have you?
no, I've been stuck on. I'm forcing myself through Kanan, and it's really been kind of mentally draining me, and I hate it because I'm forcing myself to watch it just so I can get to Shaman King. Or did you mean watch shows overall in my lifespan, or did you mean watch shows
Mm-mm.
as in lately? I that's a good question. I don't know. I would say I've watched quite a handful of shows, but I had a later renaissance into anime
Mm-hmm.
than I feel like I should have. Like I didn't really get into anime again. Like so, young Trey. I've had maybe three stages of anime in my life. I've had the renaissance or the beginning, if you would, where I watched
Mm-hmm.
the shonens, the Dragon Balls, the Bleaches, the Narutos, and then I had maybe the middling out where I started watching like Death Note and those little mangas and other things that were getting popular on Toonami and stuff, and then I had a falling out.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really watch a lot of anime. I didn't play a lot of games. I got caught up with my job and school, just kind of stopped. But then I had a renaissance. And I wish I could remember what anime it was that brought me back. But
Was it High School of the Dead?
I don't think it was far from there when I actually watched it. And I
Because
was
when I
like,
met you, that's what we talked about. Like that's how I actually started bonding with you originally. It was like,
I'd believe it.
yeah.
Because that was around the time I started watching anime again, was when we started working together. And since then, I've been kind of a bit more adamant about watching anime and what I want to watch. And so that's just kind of when I got serious. And yeah, I guess I haven't watched many. I'd say maybe, I wouldn't say 100, but I would say above 50, or at least that
Okay.
I've tried and I've quit. So over 50, I would say.
That's not too bad. It's not too bad. So I'll give you a few fun questions. I can come up with some stuff right off the top of my head. Like, for instance, what was the original Japanese name of Mongolian Chop Squad, the anime?
Beck?
There you go.
Oh,
There's the
okay,
first
good.
one. That's fantastic. I'm not throwing any
I thought
like
you were
really
getting
hard stuff. I can get hard. Like for instance,
same.
what is the name of the song sung as a Bleach opening by the band Orange Range?
You talked about this.
Yes,
You
I did.
talked about this a couple episodes ago. I'm going to guess that it is most definitely HEB green tea mango flavor with other natural flavors, no high fructose corn syrup.
The answer was asterisk.
Damn it, there's an asterisk at the end of this. It's so close. So
Yeah,
close.
absolutely. As close as you can possibly be.
I round up, that's two.
Okay, what is the full name of the main character of Fruits Basket?
Ooh. Toru Honda.
There you go. All
Oh
right,
man. All
good,
right.
good.
Ooh.
I'm proud of you.
Ooh.
I'm proud of you. Um, okay, now we're gonna throw another hard one at you, and I've talked about this, but you had to be paying a lot of attention. This is the last one I'll give you because I'm just running out of ideas real quick.
Okay. Okay.
What is the name of my favorite Japanese voice actor who voiced Sosuke Sagara, one of my top 5 animes of all time?
No. No, I'm gonna go ahead and tap out on that.
Yeah, fair enough. That's Tomokazu Seki.
Okay. What was the anime he was from?
He Full Metal Panic. Like that, he played Sosuke Sagara in Full Metal
Okay.
Panic, one of my top 5 animes of all time.
I just added that to my Verve not too long ago. I'm
Watch
going
it.
I'm going
It's
through everything in
amazing.
alphabetical order and I see things. I'm like, oh, Full Metal Panic. That's one Steven really likes. And I add that
Yes.
on there and I just keep going.
Yes, that's fantastic. So speaking of animes, now that we're done with the quizzes and things like that, so I was going to talk about what we're watching, and I don't know if you've heard of these shows that I've been watching,
I swear to God. I
but
swear to
have you
God.
heard of Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun? Okay, you've heard of that one. What about The
Yeah.
Detective Is Already Dead? You heard about that
God.
one?
I'm gonna let my cat fill in for this part of the episode.
I can't. I watched another episode of each of those.
Yeah,
I'll probably
still
talk
good.
about it once they're actually done again. Like I like to harass you because it's my favorite hobby.
How much longer do you have on The Detective Is Already Dead? Because I expect Demon School or Rumakun to keep going forever. endeavor. I know it's only like 36 episodes long at this point, but I feel like it's been an eternity.
I actually think Demon School's got one more arc in it for this core to be done, because like season 1 was a full core of like 25, 26 episodes, and the second season is the same thing. I don't think they're going to go like 52, not like in the old days.
Yeah.
My guess on The Detective is Already Dead is probably 13 episodes.
Okay.
I recall it being a relatively recent light novel series, so I imagine there's only so much source material to draw on, but I haven't done the research, so I could be completely wrong. But I did restart one of my favorite series of all time, which I love it both in Japanese and in English, and that is the series Martian Successor Nadesico. Have you ever heard of this? It's considered like one of the old time classics. Like the opening song's pretty iconic. I'm pretty sure if you see a picture of it, you'll kind of have a knowledge of it. But it's essentially a show that is kind of self-parody of anime tropes way back in the day. A lot of people compared it to Evangelion. You know, it's like hapless guy ends up working for an organization and piloting a giant robot. But the concept is that this, you know, there's these, I think they were called the Jovians, if I recall correctly. And there's like this alien force attacking, and so they have this big ship, and they start pulling all these random people together for the crew. And instead of being like crack ace pilots and fantastic experts, they get like a voice actress to be a pilot. The main guy is actually a cook, and also the childhood friend of the captain of the ship, which is actually this really ditzy girl who somehow managed to get into the position of captain. And so he ends up going to space with them, kind of like Gundam, and he gets forced to fly this giant robot. And you know, of course, the story actually goes on from there. And it believe it or not, while it tries to be funny, and it really is, and it's kind of a parody of a lot of stuff, it does develop its own storyline that's really, really good, and I like it a lot. Without spoiling anything, it revolves around anime within the anime. Like that is a big plot point, and it is fantastic. When the twist happened in that show, and you find out like when the story really takes off, I was blown away. I was like, this is supposed to be like a comedy. Like none of this has been serious in any fashion up to this point, and then it just kind of like turns the corner, and now it's actually really interesting. I mean, it's interesting from the get-go. It's got good animation. You know me and old cell animation. I'm a sucker.
Yeah.
But I also remember this being one of the first series that you could get on DVD that wasn't like Dragon Ball Z or Rama 1/2 or all the big names that had come over, like Slayers was big way back in the day. But this show also has my favorite character. Guy, was it? No, his...
Guy Fieri.
No.
Most definitely the cook, Guy
Kinda
Fieri,
has the
main
hair.
character. Yeah.
kind of has the hair. But he's this guy named Shiro Yamada, which is kind of like John Smith in Japanese. Like
yeah, that's very generic.
Yes, it's very generic. But he's obsessed with this anime within the series called, I think it's Gekiganger 3 or something like that. And it's like a combining robot show. And so he loves it so much, and he wanted to be a mech pilot because of it, and he named himself Guy Daikoji, ace crack shot pilot. And he acts it out and yells all his attacks. It's the funniest thing in the world. And he was my favorite character, and coincidentally in the Japanese he's voiced by Tomokazu Seki. So that's where my initial love of his voice work came from. But I've restarted that. I haven't hit the turn in the story yet. I know it's coming up. I remember enough about it because it was so kind of important to me back when I was first getting into anime. And I'm really excited to watch the rest of it. I also started JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because
before you get to JoJo.
Okay.
While we're on old school animes and cell drawn stuff or hand drawn stuff,
absolutely.
So I scroll through Instagram. I follow quite a few retro accounts just because I like seeing gifs and reels of old anime. I love seeing it. There was one that caught my eye for a multitude of reasons called Twin Pair. And is this one you don't know?
I'm gonna have to look on this phone real quick to see. I'm pretty sure if I see a picture, I'll actually remember it.
It was a clip of Twin Pair. These two girls, they look like they're space rangers, and they were running away from some trucks that were chasing them on this planet, and they crash over them and hit something, and they end up shooting them and like holding one hostage, like tell me where it is. And it was badass, but it looked really fluid, like that first couple scenes from Cowboy, or that first couple moments in Cowboy Bebop where he's like at the table.
Oh
Getting ready to
yeah, so
box.
so a nice sakuga
Yeah.
kind of thing. I don't know if you've ever heard that term.
Like that's the
And
kind of fast, fluid drawing, kind of like in Golden Boy, when he's like pedaling and the sparks are flying. Or
absolutely. So the series you're actually referring to is called Dirty Pair.
Dirty Pair, not Twin Pair.
And it is one of my favorite series of all time. I have all of it on DVD, still wrapped, and a set that I actually watch. I love it that much.
You got
It
two
is,
copies?
yeah, I do. I can actually let you borrow the one that I watch. But there's literally a TV series of the original 80s. Oops. And then there's a OVA series, and then there's a kind of updated series called Dirty Pair Flash. And if I recall correctly, there's also a movie. I'm not in the room with my case of DVDs and Blu-rays, but I have all of it, and I actually go back and watch it. It's one of those ones that was available back then in VHS. I actually started with Dirty Pair Flash, but it's a fun show. Like the thing is, you don't need a lot of. It's not so important to see every episode. It's one of those shows from back in that era when you could kind of pick up an anime in the middle and kind of get the gist of what's going on. Kind of like City Hunter. I talk about City Hunter a lot, and that series literally is episodic as they come, because short of watching one of the movies, the longest span of episodes is maybe 3 episodes on a couple occasions and 2 episodes on a few more. But yeah, I recommend it highly.
Okay. Yeah, I liked what I saw for a couple minutes, and I looked more into it, and I was like, this looks like some Duck Dodgers, but waifu. And that's exactly what I'm about.
Yeah, they're all wearing yellow, right?
I think they were. Like
Yeah.
they were wearing yellow. I think one had blue hair and the other had brown hair. I
Yep.
think I'm pretty sure. But I remember pair was in the word. Dirty Pair sounds good. I'll take that.
Yeah, this is a man, Dirty Pair. What a throwback. I love that series. I love most of that whole era. There's a lot of trash in that era too, so don't get me wrong. I've definitely cherry picked the good stuff.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind letting you be a gatekeeper, just making sure is it garbage, is it not? But anyway, sorry to interrupt. Let's get back to JoJo. What were you?
I can talk until the end of time, so by all means, stop me. I am a motor mouth. Talking is my favorite activity, and even my significant other goes, enough sometimes.
Vroom, vroom.
All right. So I started JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because I made a promise with a friend, and it was one of my online friends, and he asked me, he's like, have you seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? And I said, I saw like the first 2 episodes, and I just got distracted, so I never went back and watched it. And it's like all the way up to like part 5, and I think 6 is coming out this year.
Mm-hmm. They just released a trailer for 6.
Yeah. I think the guys dropped it in the Discord, and so there's got to be something like 80 episodes or something like that.
More than that.
I don't know the actual count, but I'm starting from the beginning, and I bought these on Blu-ray during a Christmas sale one year, and I was like, I'm gonna watch this, and I never did. They've literally just been sitting on my shelf wrapped in plastic. And then he was like, all right, well, you haven't seen JoJo's. Have you seen Attack on Titan? Because he's trying to talk to me about like some of the big series he really likes. And I'm like, no, I watched the first 2 episodes and then I got distracted.
I watch underground anime. I don't watch the mainstream stuff.
I mean, I kind of fall into that category. I think I really strayed away from a lot of the shonen stuff for a long period of time. So I really have a hard time dipping back into it, primarily because it has so many episodes. This is one of the reasons why Attack on Titan, I was like, oh, hold off. There's a lot of episodes of that, and I'll just wait till it's actually done. So I felt like because they just are getting to the end this year, I feel like that's not so bad. But JoJo, I feel like I've really slept on. So I was talking with my friend, and he said, you need to watch one of them. I said, fine, I'll flip a coin. And so that's what I did. I flipped a coin, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure won. So I started it, and I watched the first 4 episodes in one sitting. Absolutely adoring how ridiculous the show is already. And people are telling me the first arc, like the start of the series, is good. It's just not the strongest. like entry. So that tells me that I have things to look forward to. It's beautiful looking, and the opening song of the first season has me hooked
It goes
because
so hard. It
I
goes so hard. I
yeah.
love it.
And they do the whole thing where like the manga panels come to life as a moving anime, and then they get colored, and that's a fucking fire opening, and like
Yeah.
the animation, the music, and that's what's crazy is like I remember JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, when they released the Stardust Crusaders OVAs way back in like I think it was like the early 2000s
They have
or
OVAs
90s.
for Stardust Crusader?
Yeah, so the first like JoJo anime was actually OVAs for the Stardust Crusaders arc. Like they didn't animate Phantom Blood or Battle Tendency before. I think they did specifically Stardust Crusaders. They did so. As I was reading about it, just to refresh my memory, because I remember seeing it in some magazines like Animerica and New Type USA. Um, they released the second part of the Stardust Crusaders OVAs first, and then the ones that came out after that were actually before the first set of OVAs. It was kind of a weird organization kind of thing, but yeah, I think it was only like 6 episodes or something like that. It really kind of compacted a lot of the stuff into like these short OVAs. And I remember seeing it, I'm like, I mean, it sounds kind of cool. I just didn't have the money at the time. And so it kind of fell out of my consciousness. And the rest of the world had never heard of this show, but it had been going on since like the 80s. Like the series has been going on for a long time. By the way, the mangaka, the guy who writes and pens this thing, he does not look 60, but he is.
They never do.
It's wild. Like that's the thing is like that kind of hard work, like weekly series and stuff like that. I imagine that just takes the shit out of you. Like you get wrinkled and old before your time, but he's just out there like fucking cheesing. Like I'm 61 or whatever it was, and I just look like I'm having fun at 40. And it's like this guy's been making the series for this long, and it just now in the last like decade took off.
Yeah.
And I think we have the internet to thank for that. And a solid job done by David Productions. I think it's David that does the anime, because it's really well done. And I think one of the biggest things is it adapts the manga in a manga style to anime. Like
Yeah.
whenever I watch the show, there's motion and there's definitely some digital anime going on, but it looks like the manga. It feels like the manga. I think they even have like the sound effects. Like sometimes like how in manga they have the sound effects on like the side of characters or maybe in a
Oh,
corner or something like
yeah.
that. Yeah, I think in the anime, if I'm like trying to remember the 4 episodes I just watched like 3 days ago. I have a terrible memory, but I think they actually put the sound effects in the show, and
They
that's
put like the
amazing.
doom or the crash or stuff on the sides. Yeah.
Yeah, or like his menace, and it's like menace, and there's like the symbols along his face, and that's awesome. Like
Yeah.
it's really well done. So I'm looking forward to seeing more, but it is truly bizarre, and I guess
I couldn't describe it using any other word better. I
absolutely.
And it only got worse, just being more and more bizarre. Because I remember starting JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and thinking, God, what's this really going to be about? Let's just get this over with. And then I got through the first season. I was like, that was nice. That was cool. I like Dio. Jonathan was remarkable. I would like to see where this goes. And then you get in season 2, and it's just, what the fuck is happening? it's just it's so wild. I love it. And
I've heard it turns it up to like 11 in terms of like how weird it gets.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. There was I stopped in season 3, like halfway through. They took it off Netflix, but it's on Verve now. So I'm going to go check it out there at some point. I need to finish season 3 and catch up on 4 and 5. But it's just so much. There's like 50 episodes a season. I could watch Monster Musume like 6 times by then.
Man, you love that series,
It was
and I don't
so
blame you. It's a
good.
solid series.
So
For being
good.
like a monster girl harem with a little bit of etchy going on, it's actually a pretty solid story. But JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is back on Netflix, by the way, just so you know.
I didn't know that, but I'll be good. I like using Verve. It's pretty neat as an app. Speaking of anime apps, though, you hear about old Sony going through the purchase on
Yep.
Crunchyroll?
Yep.
Man, that's
Yeah.
a
So
lot of
now
anime
all
in
the
one house.
all the anime streaming is owned by Sony. Well, not all of it. I think there's still Retro Crush and things like that, but
The
I
little
think that's
indie studio, or not studios, but
yeah, we're
indie
talking like
licensees.
the big ones, Crunchyroll and Funimation, and the Aniplex Studio are now all owned by Sony.
Yep.
So
I don't
I'm
know.
curious to see what that means for the market.
I'd like to see if there's like one app that comes out, or one company, one joining Crunchimation or Funny Roll. I think that'd be nice.
I kind of like
Um,
Funny Roll better.
it'd be nice as long as they don't get rid of. What's the mascot for Crunchyroll? Hime. She's got these comics that come out on
Really?
Instagram. Oh, they're so funny because she's so
What?
stupid, and it's funny. I can't even describe it. I read them on Crunchyroll's Instagram.
Oh
I
man,
can't recommend them enough.
I need to get with the times, Trey. I need to spend more time on Twitter and spend more time on Instagram. I'm already spending more time on YouTube, which is a thing.
The future is now, Grandpa. You
I,
gotta get with it.
I prided myself on the fact that I feel like I stayed up to date. Like I at least knew the things, but now that I'm actually interacting on it and seeing how certain things work, I'm like, man, I was falling behind. Is this how it happens? Is this how you get to age 50 and all of a sudden you're like calling things Nintendos even though they're not Nintendos? You
I feel
know?
like that's really out to spite your kids. I feel like they know that's not a Nintendo, Grandma. I'll slap the shit
hmm
out of you if you call my PlayStation Nintendo one more time. One more time, Grandma.
Grandma probably deserved it.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I've talked about like what I've kind of been like getting into and everything. Like, what about you? Like, have you stepped into anything new recently?
It's it's trudging through Canaan until I can get to Shaman King. That's it. I'm
You don't fuck around. You're like, this is it.
well, Canaan's been on my mind for years, and I just haven't been able to watch it. Now that it's on Verve, I just wanted to get through it and do it, and it's paced so weird. And I realized today that's my issue. I got through like 3 episodes this morning, and it just got to the plot.
Oh,
Like
really?
it just kind of explained why the world is the way it is. Um, so I talked about it last time, where it's this war against these terrorists, but the that's not even the cake. It's it's about the ghost village and the people that come out of it and how they can be harvested and used, and it's clones, and there's too much and like it didn't start off with this lore, and
hmm
like if it would have started off there, maybe I could have kept up with it a little better, but like I watch it and there's something new that happens each episode. I'm like, but how does that tie into this? And I don't think I'm really seeing the whole scope here. I'm just
Is it that thing that's where it all comes together at the end?
it may be, and like I've got one more episode left. I'm so excited to be done, so I can get the Shaman
Oh
King.
wow.
I
Oh well,
just
yeah. You need to get in on that.
yeah,
That shit's hot. I
I
love it.
I believe it. My brother's texted me about it too, and he's like, "Man, you're not gonna believe this character." And I was like, hey man, I'm not there yet. I haven't started.
Spoilers.
Spoilers, dude. Spoilers. What do you mean everyone dies?
I
But
want you to understand that. Let me put it to you this way: the same people who created the Fate universe are the people who made Kanan.
but Fate doesn't make sense on its own premise, and that's okay. But this thing tried to make like a military drama sci-fi thriller, and like it didn't hit on any of those cylinders. It's just been a mess. But like Fate is what, historical fan service in anime form, and like that is that's okay. You can do whatever you want with that the doors are wide open.
You haven't dived very deep into the Fate lore, have you?
I'm scared to.
You
I
should
don't
be.
I don't want to go I don't want to go further than Stay Night and Zero, because I know it gets worse, and I'm scared.
uh, so if I had to recommend anything, watch Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works.
Hmm.
Watch the Fate Stay Night movies. There's I think it's called Heaven's Feel, and there's 3 parts. There's 3 movies for it. Because in the original Fate Stay Night game, hentai game by the way, yeah, they released a non-H version of it because it's just it's mostly the story. The story is mostly not hentai. It's just like it's one of those ones where it's like there was hentai at the end. But there was 3 main storylines in the original Fate Stay Night visual novel. So there was Heaven's Feel, which was one arc. There was the Unlimited Blade Works, which was another arc, and the other arc where he's with Saber. I can't remember the name right now, but I'll get it eventually. But yeah, like if you can stick to the animes based on those 3 original Fate Stay Night arcs, that's pretty easy to follow. Zero is a prequel, so that's helpful. And don't get into the other stuff.
I got one of the games on my Switch. Whenever I first got the Switch, they released one of the Fate Extella games on there, and I bought it. I hated it.
I'm a fan of the game.
It's only because I didn't know what to expect. I was like, Fate, a game? That's gotta be good. And then sure enough, it's a romance, like simulation, and then it's like half Dynasty Warriors, but like shittily done. And I hated it. And then like every 10 minutes I have to rub Saber's back, and I'm like, come on, man, where's who are all these people? And this fox girl keeps talking to me.
Your description of this game is amazing. I will say this is like, see, that's where it gets complicated, because there was the Fate Extra series, which was on the PSP, which introduced Nero Claudius, which is the Saber lookalike that is a reincarnation of a different historical figure, but looks like Saber. There's like a ton of different Sabers, like the same character design with different outfits that are reincarnated versions of other historical figures. So it gets really confusing really fast. And that's the thing. It's like the same thing happens when you get into like Fate Grand Order. And, you know, there was Berserker in the original series, and then there's other Berserkers that now look like this character, but they're still a Berserker. Like, and then there's new classes that now that remember what Berserker looked like? Well, it's a different class. It just looks like him. So it gets really kind of convoluted. And I know I'm kind of oversimplifying this. I know there's Fate super fans out there. There's a reason that Fate Grand Order is like still the biggest mobile game there is. Like, they've made ridiculous amounts of money off of this. The only game that's challenging them is Genshin Impact.
So the biggest thing though is like they summon whatever historical figure, and they can fit any of those roles. So Saber is a different Saber because it was a different swordsman from a different time, right? So Berserker in one was Alexander the Great. No, he was the writer.
And Hercules, I think.
Hercules.
I think it was supposed to be Hercules.
And then Berserker in another one was I think it was some other dude. I don't want to discredit the legend, but I just don't remember him. No disrespect, please. Sorry, G. But that's it. I'm struggling through Kanan. Jesus Christ.
Sorry. Took us down another side road again.
And so Shaman King. And then I don't know what I have planned after Shaman King. I keep adding stuff. Oh, there is one that's caught in my eye. It looks like it's pretty funny. It's called The Great Jahi Will Not Be Defeated. And it looks like it's pretty funny. I keep seeing snippets and screenshots of that one. And I just added that one to my queue. And I found Raxiphone. It was like
Raxiphone.
That's what I said. Don't make fun of my accent, man. And I I added that one to my Verve. I'm pretty excited. My Verve is looking real good. Real girthy on the queue there.
I don't have Verve, but I have Funimation and Crunchyroll. Is it something that you have to sign up for a separate kind of? Okay.
Yeah. But Verve is a Crunchyroll product, but what it is it pulls different. It has all your generic animes that are normally on everything, but it also pulls the exclusives from the different sites as well. But it's normally a lot of subs. You don't get as many dubs, which isn't, bad for everyone. It's bad for me because I normally got to watch a baby at the same time. So I got to be selective about what I'm watching on my own or what I'm watching with the baby, because he'll watch it with me if it's bright and colorful. So I gotta pick it. But yeah, it's a neat app. I like it. It's a lot more user friendly than I think Funimation was. Like, I couldn't use Funimation on my TV because it just was not built in for that service right. But I don't know. Verve has handled a lot better.
I like Funimation shows. Their app on a lot of the streaming boxes and stuff like that is just really not that great. Like, navigating it is a pain in the butt. Sometimes it freezes. I've actually had it just freeze and go, I guess I'll just start over and load myself again. So that's always a really tough one.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of my last thing I had before Funimation, but I don't think I had another one. I debated getting Retro Crush for a bit,
Mm-hmm.
but after looking through all of its catalog, I just really couldn't get behind it. I didn't really know what I was into or not, and you've said before a lot of that era was garbage, and so I just had to, I don't know, pass on it. I may wait for a while before I get Retro Crush, and maybe it'll merge into something else. I hope that happens.
Yeah, that would be super nice. We'll see how it goes. So I feel like we've covered anime at this point. So what do we do? What are you playing otherwise? Like in terms of games, like I've been playing games, like specifically the book club game that everyone is harassing me to finish. So I played 7 hours of Fire Emblem Three Houses today.
It's possible you're going to finish the book club game before the end of the month. It's
Yes.
possible. It's 40 hours. So if you, hour or two a day, you could do it. I believe.
Yes.
Actually, since you're doing um, Black Eagle route,
Yeah.
that's a shorter route already. So you could probably get there a lot sooner.
Yes.
But for me, I am playing Final Fantasy VII. I
Oh
just
yeah.
finished Disc 1, and now I'm taking a break from it. Um, I'm also playing Scarlet Nexus, but I'm also taking a break from that too because the anime aesthetic is too strong right now with all my games. And so I have started jumping over to other games on my Switch so I could clear up space for Monster Hunter Stories 2 once I can download that and I got the space ready. I beat Stubbs the Zombie Rebel Without a Pulse, and that was quite a treat. I really enjoyed that. That was about 4 or 5 hours of just nonsense. I just
Really.
yeah, oh, it was so funny. I had it on easy mode because I wasn't looking for a challenge. I was just looking to just go through, do zombie shit, and get out. And it provided. It was really good.
Yeah, that's a remaster of an older game, isn't it?
I think it came out for the Xbox, I believe.
Oh wow. Talk about a throwback.
Oh yeah. And then I feel like I gypped myself on time for that one. I'm not quite ready to go back to Final Fantasy VII yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I started Resident Evil Revelations, and that was not too shabby so far. It's like
I've never
a
played that. Like, is it good? It's been around for a long time. I've seen it go on sale for some low ass prices.
yeah, it's not too bad. It's like a cleaned up version of five, I would say.
Hmm.
I'm really enjoying it. The aesthetics real clean on it. I like this whole submarine, not submarine. It's like you're on a rusted cruiser. I'm really not. I'm just not invested in the story. I'm in chapter 2, and they're just saying shit that's going on. I'm like, I don't care. It's Resident Evil. I don't care. Um,
Shoot zombies.
just kill the zombies. But there's one thing I hate about the game, and there's this girl named Jessica. She's one of the main partners, and she is appallingly shameless. Like you, what is it? I was in the middle of a firefight with these dogs, and the dogs just kept charging at me, and my main guy Chris had fell down, and I was like, I need your help. She was like, me and my sweet ass are on the way, and I was like,
Wow.
what? Uh, I don't even want to play this. It's and it was incredible that, and not in a good way. But apart from that, it's still good. It plays really well for a DS port too. That I was really impressed with.
All right. Yeah. So I had to ask this question then. So the shameless nature of this character, like, clearly is kind of like rubbed you a little bit, like, in a hilariously wrong way. How did you feel about Jessie in Final Fantasy VII Remake? Like, she was remarkably more flirty than I recall in the original
She
series.
was flirty, but she was vague. You never knew if she really meant it or not. Like she would just leave like winks on the wall or something. But does she mean it? Does she want me? Is she playing me? And you just never know. And what Wedge I think said later on, he was like, "Don't fall for it, dude. She does this to everybody." And I was like, "No." It was so funny, but no, Jesse wasn't bad, I guess. She never said anything like me and my sweet ass. And like that's what really got me. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, sometimes you just have those characters that are like a little too much for you. You go,
Yeah.
that's not for me.
I didn't even, I don't know if it was just supposed to be funny or what, but I was just grossed out. And I was like, no, ma'am. No ham, no turkey.
No ham, no turkey.
No, ma'am.
What?
So what about you? So 3 houses, Black Eagles are out. You're now on chapter 7?
Yes, I had to actively force myself to stop grinding because in the normal mode, there's actually a battle that doesn't cost points when you go into battle. So you can fight the same fight over and over and over and level up.
You don't have to grind at all, big fella.
I'm aware of that now, but it's in my nature to grind. Like I played old school turn-based RPGs. There were times where you needed to take a 3-hour break and level the fuck up, or you were gonna die. So, and that's the thing. This is a tactics game, even more so. I played Final Fantasy Tactics, which is notoriously hard. So I was like, all right, gotta be grinding. Like this is a tactics game. It's Fire Emblem. It's Nintendo. Like, let's do this. And then I leveled up and I got a lot of upgrades and already got my characters into the intermediate classes, like in chapter 4. And I quickly started realizing that I was just kicking the shit out of everything. Anything story related or like required, I would just mow people down. There was if they didn't basically get no damage, they would turn around and counterattack twice. When they attach, they'd attack twice. Like I had just gone overboard with the grinding, so I actively had to stop doing it.
Yeah, I didn't grind at all. Like so, this was my first time playing it as well, and I didn't grind at all. I played the Blue Lions route, which is 4 chapters longer than the route you are most likely going to be going down. And it just, I didn't grind at all. I mean, I did all the battles for each month that you do, and that was it. I just managed my little team, and that was my splinter cell of assassins, and we just took care of business, and that was it. I just made sure everyone had to stay around the same level as much as possible, and I never really had problems. I maybe had to restart a couple fights because of positioning issues where I sent some people off where I shouldn't have, and I used all my divine pulses, and I just couldn't save them, and so I had to restart the whole battle because of that. But for the most part,
were you playing on classic mode?
Mhm.
I forewent classic mode. I went casual. For my first
normal
playthrough.
classic.
Yeah, I did normal casual because and I haven't. What's funny? I could have gone classic mode because I haven't lost anybody yet, and it doesn't look like I'm going to lose anybody because I've only had to use divine pulse twice, and that was exactly what you said. It's positioning issues. I would put them in a spot where 3 guys would come after this guy, and he clearly was not going to be able to stand up to 3 people hitting him with stuff. So
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that was dumb, and I literally went back like 2 steps, and I was like, all right, never mind, don't put him there. And the game's really cool. It's Persona meets Fire Emblem, but there's a lot of mechanics I don't see the benefit of. So it feels like there's a lot of extra in the game, and maybe a lot of like what's popular about Fire Emblem since Awakening is that kind of like almost visual novel kind of like relationship side stories, like anime-esque kind of like stories going on off the battlefield. And so like I used the advice box once. Like I was like, nah. Like I haven't used the advice box since like the initial quest to do it.
I failed it most of the time. I just didn't know the people. I skipped. Well, I say skipped. I did everything. I just skipped the dialogue. It was just no. I don't have the time to learn 80 different people that aren't real to me, and so I just skipped it. I didn't care enough about these people.
I admit there is a fairly large cast. So every time I go back to explore the monastery between like chapter battles, it takes me a good solid hour to just talk to everybody, do the little quests around the monastery, and find the blue little dots, all the lost items. That's where I'm actually taking the most time. The battles are just those are fine. I finished those in record time. Yeah, they're not slow, and there's a lot of people on the field. I thought that it would go slow, but no, the game's pretty well paced.
Once you're really well leveled and everyone's attacking you, they die quickly.
Yeah,
So
I
one
I had
thing,
Petra kill everyone as a counterattack on one of the maps.
nice. One thing I skipped was giving people items. And apparently that's a big thing in recruiting and just kind of managing, getting a bigger team. But like I said, I just kept my class, and I recruited everyone that was neutral to the school. So like
Mm-hmm.
Catherine and her archer girlfriend, Cyril. So those are the ones I really kept.
I like the storyline I'm on because they're not even trying to hide that they hate the church.
I
Like
believe it.
they're just outright talking about like, yes, a revolution is coming. I will be responsible for the revolution. Like that's not even a spoiler. It's she literally says it in the normal dialogue by like chapter 3, and
Yeah,
it's like clear that she thinks the church is dumb and doesn't like what they do. So there's gonna be a revolution, and it's not even a spoiler at this point. Like she just says it, and
yeah.
that kind of threw me off a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's the thing we're doing.
Is
But
that how we're gonna handle this?
yeah, like I don't know, like there's a lot of douchebags in the group. There's a lot of weird people in the group. Apparently, like one of my favorite characters, like she's one of my strongest now, is Bernadetta, and she's like the shut-in, and she's like scared of everything and
Hmm.
everyone, and it's really annoying. But I'm expecting them to explain it, and it's apparently some of the guys have hinted that it's a little dark, and I'm like, all right, cool. I like hearing, because Fire Emblem has some dark story elements to it here and there. So like
Yeah.
I've played Awakening, and it didn't really shy away from like killing people and things like that. So but yeah, I'm enjoying the heck out of that. The only other game I have played is Limbo. I for some reason one night this week was like, hey, I got Limbo on sale, and I just started playing it. It seems pretty cool. It's very atmospheric. I just played it for about an hour, and I got decently far in it, and we'll see what the rest of it holds. But for now, I've only got an hour into it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, that's a good point. Bringing up Limbo, and I've been playing all these zombie games. I really should have been saving these ones up for October,
Yeah,
and I'm ashamed of myself. I
you
normally
should
look for
be.
good horror games for that time, and I haven't played that many good ones in a while. I played this series of games called From Chilla Art on Steam not too long ago. They were good, but I feel like horror games are something we can really delve into once it's season, Wabbit season, if you would. Time for the Wabbit.
You know what we should do? Have
Huh?
you?
Oh, go ahead. Go
No.
ahead. I have nothing good to say. Go ahead.
Okay. So it's Christmas. What the hell? It's
Mm.
Halloween time coming up soon. It's Spooktober, and there's that game that everybody was like super into on Twitch. Was it?
Peach Beach Splash from Senran Kagura.
Absolutely multiplayer. Like what we need is our friend group to have like a full on elite squad on Peach Beach Splash.
That warms my heart. That really
but
warms my heart.
but what I'm really talking about is Phasmophobia or something like that.
I have heard of Phasmophobia. I think it's
Yeah,
actually still in beta too, and it's still gotten so popular.
yeah. Like the idea, I guess, is like you're supposed to be a team of like paranormal researchers, and you actually get on voice chat with your friends, and you all play this game. And I'm like, we have enough people interested that might be interested in this. We could do like a Halloween kind of thing. I
Yeah,
feel like that might be fun. I like
yeah.
multiplayer shit.
Since haunted houses are a little bit of a no go right now,
Yeah,
Phasmophobia is probably going to be the best thing you can get.
yeah, absolutely. I haven't played a lot of good horror games myself. Five Nights at Freddy's was spooky for about 2 to 3 hours for me. The atmosphere played a lot into that. And then once you get past like the jump scare element of it, then it's just figuring out the game. I There's a game that a lot of people have said is scary, but I don't know enough about it, nor have I watched a lot of gameplay. It's a game called Outlast. Apparently, there's multiple
Outlast.
entries. Yeah.
Outlast is good. So Outlast is good the first time. After
Mm-hmm.
the first time, the shock value is really gone, but the shock
Mm-hmm.
value is really what it counts on for it to be good. Um, Man, that'd be good. That's a
I might need to pick that up. I have played Bendy and the Ink Machine, which was decently spooky. I got pretty spooked on that one. Again, it was atmosphere and kind of just them doing some clever stuff in the stages, and I liked that. But it wasn't like super spooky. It was just kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And then I really haven't played a lot of horror games. Now I think about it, I know that I want
used to be
play.
real big into horror games when I had my Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
But I just kept looking for the next big scare. I like being scared. I love it. Nothing kicks quite like it. And it's just hard to find something that satisfies that thrill.
You know what I want to play? I need to go back and play because I remember trying the beginning of this game, and a lot of people call it like one of the best like scary FPSs. Is Fear? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've played Fear 3, and it was good. It had some atmospheric moments that got pretty scary in that one, but it was way more FPS than anything else. But I don't know anything about the first two.
Yeah, I've heard it's kind of like spooky little girl ghost kind of thing going on, but it's still an FPS. So I don't know. Maybe I need to branch out and try some of that stuff this year instead of being lazy and not playing the other games I'm not playing.
Instead of beating the book club.
Look, hey, I'm one trophy away from platinuming Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash, and
you've been one trophy for 2 years.
Hey, how dare you
for
drag me in front of everyone and point that out, you monster.
So I feel like if anyone has any spooky game recommendations as of late or any kind, please drop them at our Twitter at SENKOU podcast. That's Senko podcast.
Yeah,
I'd like to hear some recommendations.
Like we can get you to stream it or something, or maybe I'll stream it.
Oh, I'm down for streaming scary games because I act big and bad. I'm a little bitch though. I really am.
Absolutely. Also a huge bitch. Yeah. When it comes to spooky stuff. My girlfriend makes me watch tons of like ghost story stuff, and I still get moments where I'm like, no. It like they do the interview with the people that are like in haunted houses, and they're like, yeah, I just thought it was some kind of figment of my imagination. I was like, no, that's a ghost. You knew it was a ghost. You should have moved the hell out before something bad happened. You should have moved out. Like every time, like she just laughs at me because I'll be watching a show. I'm like, nope. I just gotta get out.
So Paranormal Activity is one of my favorite guilty pleasures. Like every Halloween, I watch all 6 movies. It's just something I do.
There are 6?
Yes. 1, 2, 3. The marked ones. 5. Yes, I think there's 6. I'm pretty sure there's 6. And I watch them every year, and I love them. Guilty pleasure. But I told my wife, because she joined me for one of my marathons, I was like, if I ever found out you were haunted, I'm going to leave you. I can't do that. I can't fight a ghost. I could fight a person, but I can't fight a ghost.
Yeah, absolutely. I get in a lot of trouble because Melissa will ask me, what would you do in that case? Like, what if we had a ghost? I'd be like, I'd be gone. She's like, you just leave me? And I'm like, yes, it's a ghost. I can't win.
What do you want me to do? I can't fight. I am afraid of no ghost.
I know who to call. Not me.
Not me. Don't you? I'll block you. All right, man. All right. I think we've derailed quite a bit there. We from Fate's Day Night to to Ghostbusters.
Seriously, we really have. So what was the plan?
The plan
for the podcast.
Oh, for tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. We derailed like crazy. So
yeah. Well, we were supposed to talk about backlogs and how we view them and how we handle them, but we never seem to handle our schedule really well.
We really need to get better at this. Yeah. No. Well, I think I'm hilarious, so that's all that matters. How dare you hit me with that? You're like, oh, it's good there's one of us. Shit, man. I didn't mean to make you laugh that hard. Jesus.
That's all good. So I think we'll have to save our backlog for another conversation. We're coming up on our hour mark.
Yeah,
So
what a little light, fun tangent down a rabbit hole road, whatever.
yeah,
I guess I'll wrap up with a couple recommendations off of my manga list. I read a lot more manga than I watch anime these days, so that is a thing. And I'm actually gonna bring this bad boy up because got some good shit going on. Oh, always a classic. Go check out Tomo-chan is a Girl. It is a really short 8-volume series that was originally on the internet, like on Twitter or Instagram. I can't remember which one it is, but it's basically about this guy who has this childhood friend, and she's a girl, but she's very tomboyish, and so it literally starts with her confessing to him, and he's like, ha, no, we're best buds, and like, puts his arm around her and like, hits her and stuff like that, because she, like, apparently she grew up in a household that has a dojo, so she's learned martial arts, and her dad is very macho, and so is the rest of the family. So she's kind of tomboyish, and it's funny because like it does expand on their relationship, and he eventually starts to see her a different way, but it also tells backstory about how they met, and like, and then there's side characters, and it expands on their backstory and how they all interacted together, and it's really funny. It's kind of like a 4 coma, but it's just more like short stories that are actually a big overarching story. But it's 8 volumes. I think it's only like, I want to say it's like maybe 100 chapters, and that's it. But it's fun, it's funny, and it's really well drawn. It's kind of got a unique style to it that's not overly like anime.
that's not bad.
Yeah, solid watch, solid read. Huge fan of that one. What else do I have to recommend? Oh boy, oh boy.
Well, while you're looking up that, I so me and my wife frequent the local Barnes and Noble, and I always go to the manga section. I never buy. I always look.
Mm-hmm.
And I always eye the Alita Battle Angel section because I love I love just how it looks. They always have these beautiful red covers on them, and just I
Mm-hmm.
love how it's drawn. I love that cyberpunk. Just everything is amazing, and I think I'm kind of making it a long term goal for myself to get
You
these
absolutely.
Alita Battle Angel Deluxe Edition red binds. It's pretty
Yeah.
sad. Pretty
Yeah,
sad.
they are fucking killer, man. So I remember Battle Angel Alita when it was being released by Dark Horse. So because when I first started getting into manga, there was very few series on the market, and a lot of them were like either safe bets, like safe, like middle of the road, like nothing too offensive, extremely violent, or porn. So Dark Horse Comics used to release a good chunk of manga. They released Blade of the Immortal,
Mhm.
which was really really good. If you haven't ever read that, go read it. Wandering Samurai story involving guy hunting down stuff to kind of repent to a certain degree, and yeah, there's also an anime for it. Go watch it. Um, but they also released Battle Angel Alita, and I remember discovering this series because a friend on the internet in an AOL chat room, that tells you how old it is, it suggested the series to me. And you actually used to have to, like, so this was when Dark Horse Comics used to release manga in those like comic, like, you remember the thin American comic
Yeah.
issues? They used to release parts of like a chapter at a time in those thin comic style, so you could actually get manga in the style of American comics. Like, those are actually a thing. They're not anymore, mind you, but back then, like, you could get an issue of Oh My Goddess, Blade of the Immortal, Battle Angel Alita, and several others. And I remember this series being really really good, and I recommend it, especially since they've released like the box sets and like the kind of reproduced like volumes. It's amazing.
I started on my god. Nope, I started on my Buddha and I stopped. I hated it.
Oh
It
yeah.
That's normally one that would be right up my alley before I went back to Kanat, and I just that it was stupid. I can't get into those kind of anime or stories where hormonal powers are the center of the protagonist. Like it's it's almost too much. Like the so all my Buddha was with this monk at a monastery, his grandma's monastery, where these other nuns, I think they were nuns, they were trained to be nuns, and they just kept provoking him to save the day so he could get aroused and use his powers. But it was just really gross, and I didn't like that. I was like, ew. And there was another one that was like this, where it was the Pink March of the Penguin Emperor or Penguin something.
Penguin Drum?
No, it was a little more complicated than that. But it was this guy who was just a degenerate in high school. And this girl came and picked him up. And she said, I think we need you to pilot this mech. And he was like, nah, I got nothing else to do. And so he gets in the mech and drives it, or tries to drive it, but nothing will happen. It won't move. And she's like, I don't understand what's going on. And her boobs press against his back. And he gets roused. And that's where the power comes from. And I was like, this is horrible. I don't like this. Very uncomfortable. And it just gets downhill for the rest of the episode as he discovers his power.
What the fuck is that? Like, that doesn't really
the title does not give way to something like this. It is something about penguins. I gotta find it. But I was like, oh my god, what do these birds have to do with this? But I don't know. I just can't. Not my protagonist.
Yeah, so I love All My Goddess. I think it's probably one of the better series, and I don't know if you know this, but it was originally made by I'm literally trying to find his name at this very moment, which I probably should just use the internet instead of this book that I'm trying to use. Kosuke Fujishima. He's the original like author and artist of Oh My Goddess, but he's also the character designer and art guy for the Tales of series.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah, so like when you see something like this with like I'm showing him Tales of Xillia, that art on the front of the box is the guy who did Oh My Goddess, and he's been doing the Tales of series for quite a while, as I recall. And it's one of the reasons I'm a huge fan of the Tales of series, is because his art is and his character designs are a part of it. So you know what? Hey, go read Oh My Goddess. One of the original like magical girlfriend genre. One of the original harem series manga. I mean, he kind of has a main girl that he's like clearly with, but other girls show up and are part of the hijinks that ensue. I kind of feel that way about harem animes. Is like, you know, like it's clear there's a like best girl that's gonna win in the end, but if you throw a whole lot of girls in the mix, then it's still a harem manga.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
So one of the originals, solid read, great art. It's got some good culture in it, that's for sure.
I like that. Would you call Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid a harem anime?
Yes.
Okay.
Because not because so I call it a harem anime because there is multiple girls involved in the hijinks, but there's no male protagonist to kind of like really hit that traditional kind of setup.
Mm-hmm.
But every dragon has their human to a degree, and I think that's cool, but they all still center around the main girl Kobayashi, and all the girls kind of like get into hijinks together, and it's still fan servicey as hell. Good lord, but that's also the creator, man.
Yeah,
the creator makes another series called Chi-Chi, which
can't imagine what that's about.
Yeah, no, it's a thing. Don't let your parents see and read it.
Ooh.
Yeah, don't let your parents see you reading it. What the hell were this set of words that just came out of my mouth?
I think I knew what you meant. If not, I registered something else.
Dear Lord.
So what else did you have for your recommendations? I realized we went down, I think, 3 different rabbit holes there.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, I recommended Oh My Goddess, and then I recommended what was the first one I said? Good Lord. That doesn't matter. I would recommend reading. There's a manga out there called not that. I'm reading the wrong thing. Older Elite Knight is cute only in front of me, which is honestly like a super fan servicey cute series about this guy who's a knight that works under his captain, and she is like this badass knight, and he works under her as like kind of her assistant, and and she's older and he's younger, and he clearly has a thing for her, and so he teases her a lot, and it's kind of funny. But then it starts developing a plot a little later on. You can see a trend in the way I read these things. Like it's kind of like very episodic, and then it eventually develops a plot. But it's got really good art. It's got some minor nudity in it, but it's a cute series, and then it develops a plot, and it's still cute for the most part. And actually, kind of develops the characters. You learn more about them, and it's fun. It's a fun read. I think it's only up to like I think it's only up to like 40 something chapters, so it's still early in the series, but I like it a lot. It's a personal favorite of mine.
Okay.
But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. I'm not really going to hit an anime this time because I've talked about it several already in this episode that you can kind of cherry pick out to watch. Because yeah, I would recommend Martian Successor Nadesico, Dirty Pair Flash. Good lord, yeah, there's so many. Oh, I got one more quiz for you before we go.
Oh,
what is the original Japanese opening of Dragon Ball Z? What's the name of the song?
Fight the Dragon.
No, that's the
American version.
The American version is Rock the Dragon.
Rock the Dragon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope, I don't know the Japanese.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a little shocking. I figured you'd actually know that one.
No, I grew up on the American one on Toonami. I didn't
like you never went out and tried to find more about it?
No. I mean, once you get so accustomed to Sean Schimmel as Goku, you don't really want to hear anything else. It's
you never heard the song Head Chala from like playing the video games or anything like that?
I think I have, but like I definitely would prefer Rock the Dragon.
Look, I'm with you on that one. This is a rare occurrence.
It's a guitar intro like yeah, it should went hard. I think I heard it on a Budokai or something, and it was cool. But
Rock the Dragon is where it's at. Head Chala is very kind of. It's not very rocking. It's not a very rocking opening. It's pretty traditional Japanese opening song from that era. And they say that phrase a lot in the opening. But Rock the Dragon is where it's at. Even I can agree with that one. That is a solid banger.
I only watched Dragon Ball subbed when Super was coming out because I just couldn't wait for the next episode to come out in the dub on some fan site. And I was like, I've got to find out what happens next. And so I just watched it. It was great. It was even amazing in Japanese. It was so good.
Well, then we have that to look forward to when we talk about my backlog tomorrow or whatever day we record. I don't even know what the day is anymore. Next time we record, I will be covering my backlog, which includes 9 whole seasons of Dragon Ball Z that I've never watched.
9 whole seasons. And then 1 season of Super, 1 season of GT, 4 seasons of Dragon Ball.
And then there's also the movies.
Nah, you don't really need to see the movies.
Oh, really?
Except the Super movies. I would recommend the Super movies.
So you didn't enjoy any of the movies that came out for Dragon Ball Z?
No, they're enjoyable. But I mean, I wouldn't. They're not canon or anything. Oh, hang on. Well, so no, they're not canon, but except for Broly.
Well, actually, guys.
What I can really say about this. No, we can. God, I can make a whole episode of Dragon Ball. God, it's so good.
No kidding, absolutely.
But yeah, we can cover this on the backlog and talk about Dragon Ball.
All
right, man. You got any closing questions, comments, concerns before we head out? I tuck you in the bed, put on your little jammy footies and your underoos.
No.
Oh
no. That's a horrible image.
That all depends on your underoos.
That is terrifying.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, guys, this has been another Senpai Kouhai joint. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you leave us any feedback you want to leave us on our Twitter. Like I said earlier, senkopodcast@gmail.com. You can also, Senko Podcast. That's a Twitter. You can also email us at senpai@gmail.com. You can find us on our usual streaming sites and also YouTube. We also have these up on YouTube as well. All right. Well, thank you for your time, Steven. I will see you again next week.
Later, guys. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.